And if I listen, what would happen? What do you think would happen if I listen? You want me to stay here, getting older, getting sicker, hating you? You think I want to hate you, Mama? You think it don't tear me to pieces to always have to lie to you all the time? Yes. Because I've been lying, Mama, for a long time now. I don't want to tell no more lies. I don't want to keep feeling so bad inside that I have to go running down them alleys you was talking about. Them alleys right outside this door. To find something to help me hide. To hide what I'm feeling. Mama, I want to be a man. It's time for you to let me be a man. You gotta let me go. If I stay here, I'll end up worse than Daddy. Because I'm not doing what I know I gotta do. I gotta do it. I seen your life. And now I see Daddy's. And I love you. I love you both. But I got my work to do. There's something happening in the world out there. And I gotta go. I know you think I don't know what's happening. But I'm beginning to see something. Every time I play, every time I listen, I see Daddy's face. And I see yours. And I see many others. Who's gonna speak for that, Mama? Who's gonna speak for all of us? I can't stay home. Maybe I can say something. One day. Maybe I can say something in music that has never been said before. Mama, you knew this day was coming. Now shut up and let me talk. Shit! You don't have any sense, Lula. No feelings either. I can murder you now. Such a tiny, ugly throat. I can squeeze it flat and watch you turn blue on a humble for dog kicks. And for all these weak-faced old faces squatting around here, staring over their papers at me, murder them too, even if they expected it. That man there, I could rip the Times right out of his hands, just as skinny as middle class as I am. I can rip this paper right out of his hands just as easily as I can rip out his throat. It takes no great effort. For what? To kill you soft idiots? You don't understand anything but luxury. I'm not telling you again, Tallulah Bankhead. Luxury. It's in your face and in your fingers. You telling me what I ought to do? Ah! Well, don't. Don't you tell me anything. If I want to be a middle class, fake white man, then let me be. Let me be in the way I want. I'll rip your lousy breasts off. Let me be who I feel like being. Uncle Tom, Thomas, whoever. It's none of your business. You great liberated whore. You fuck some black man and right away you're an expert on black people. What a lot of shit that is. The only thing that you know is that you come if he bangs you hard enough. And that's it. And they say I love Betsy Smith and don't understand that Betsy Smith is saying kiss my ass. Kiss my black, unruly ass before love, suffering, and desire. Anything that you can explain, she is saying it very plainly. Kiss my black ass. Crazy niggas turning their backs on sanity when all it needs is a simple act. Murder. Just murder will make us all sane. Ah, shit. But who needs it? All these fantasy people, all these blues people, they'll cut your throats and drag you out to the edge of your cities so the flesh can fall away from your bones in sanitary isolation. Now that's easy. You see, I have something now that I didn't have back then. Now, I'm the one who makes the choices about my life. I control my direction, and I control my destiny. I remember the first time I saw my daddy do that. See, my daddy was a carpenter. Supposed to have been one of the best ones around. Man came up to my master's house one day and wanted to hire my daddy out. He said that they were building a new city called Washington, and they were looking for the best masons and the best carpenters that they could find. By then, my Master Williamson had found religion. He no longer went by Master Williamson. He became Reverend Master Williamson. And he no longer hired his slaves out to anyone who had a dollar. So Reverend Master Williamson did something that he never done before. He told the man that he would have to ask my daddy. Then let my daddy decide if he wanted to go help build this new city or not. So my daddy listened to the man talk about the great buildings that they were building. A tower, a rotunda, a great house. And at the end of it all, my daddy carefully considered, nodded his head, and said, if it is that great, then I want to go there and be a part of it all. I had never seen my daddy do that before. To consider, nod his head, then decide. I thought it was the most wonderful thing in the world. See now, that's the difference between then and now. Now, I'm the one who considered, nods my head, then decide. It's tough growing up as a black male. However, by overcoming obstacles of life and breaking the changes of generational disadvantages, we begin to establish a self-identity. From our parents showing us off like trophies to the ups and downs with our peers, we begin to change mentally, understanding that we won't be able to please everyone. These changes aid in our development and allow us to see the world in a different way. The stories you just watched tie together one thing. The trials and tribulations aid to shape the person we are today. It's inside of us focuses on examples of struggles that the black man go through to develop themselves. The three pieces that were used in this and inside of us were taken from the plays The A-Man Corner, Dutchman, and Free Man of Color. Each depicts conflict, whether it be social or within our family structure. My production points out that being black isn't the only thing that ties us together, but we are alike because of what's inside of us. We all had to battle against what society wants us to be, what we want to be, and what status tells us what we should be. My inspiration comes from Sidney Poitier, James Baldwin, and Edward Butterworth, with his quote that says, "Don't just go through life, grow through life." From day to day, we have our struggles and pains that we deal with. However, it's important to understand that life is the teacher, and we all can grow from the lessons it teaches.
Well, Kennedy, I'd like to welcome everybody to Kennedy Carroll's senior thesis theatrical performance. Again, we're streaming here, and we're joining you from the Kennedy Fine Arts Gallery. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about maybe your process and your choices for your thesis. So what inspired you? Like what inspired you to choose these monologues?
The main things that inspired me to choose the monologues was basically I wanted to show the development of a black man in America. When you think about a black man in America, most people just think of racism, but we all go through the same things in different ways. You have some African Americans. We go through it by sometimes we go to school, and if we come from a bad neighborhood and you're going to school, you go back home for like a weekend or so. You hear that you're fake, you're a sellout, and then that goes with Dutchman. Dutchman was all about society telling him that he's a sellout, he's Uncle Tom because of what he done to his when he left his community to go better himself. And you don't even have to go to school to better yourself. It's even if you build your own business. I have a friend that he's a plumber and he left college and he ended up becoming a great plumber, but he went back to his neighborhood and some of his peers look down on him because he left his neighborhood and they look at him as, oh, you're not, you think you're better than us. And no, it's not nobody thinking you're better than them. It's basically that we're trying to better ourselves. But I feel like we all have we go through the same struggle in a different way. So that was like one major thing that I wanted to point out in the coming from being an African American growing up in this society.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting take on it. So you kind of relate to Dutchman.
Oh yes,
right. In several aspects, you're not Dutchman in the sense of what he ended up doing, but you're Dutchman in the sense that maybe you went and pursued higher education, right?
Yeah,
I think we've had this conversation before, right? So you kind of in place of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what kind of issues did you run into, in choosing these monologues? Did it, when you envisioned doing these monologues and relating or choosing monologues that related to your experience growing up, to, a young African-American male, black male growing up, and some of the trials and tribulations, like you said, that you might kind of run into on that path? Was it exactly how you thought it was going to turn out, or were there things that you didn't expect? Did you have to make some adjustments?
I had to make a lot of adjustments.
Did you?
It was mostly with like trying to figure out how can I compare myself to the character. Like I didn't go through the same thing as free man of color, but I felt that pride, that joy when he found out like he had a decision that he could make, like when he had the freedom to make his decisions. And when it came to A Man's Corner, I had to like understand because his parents wanted him to be, well, his mother wanted him to be a preacher, but he wanted to be a musician. But with me, my parents, they loved me to do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that he had to make that choice to be independent. And that's what I had to figure out, like what little pieces would tie me to these characters. And that was hard for me because—
And what pieces wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
It's like you said, you have very supportive parents.
Exactly. My parents, they're with me if I do anything. So.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So we talked a little bit about the theme, and a little bit about the concept. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience about what you were trying to communicate?
Mostly that we all are alike in different ways. It don't matter if you if you're rich, poor, or you got a great life. We all go through some struggle that makes you to the person that you are today. When you think about hard times, everybody be like, oh man, hard times is like the worst because you're at your lowest point. But some people's lowest point isn't the same as everybody's lowest point.
Right.
So I would say like when you're going through something, look at it as a lesson more than anything. It's not like something that's going to break you down. And don't always ask, oh, why God, this is always happening to me? Because at the end of the day, you will see that's making you to a better person. Because when that obstacle come again, you're going to know how to approach it.
Wow.
But that's what the piece was really about.
That's great. What if you had to improve anything? I want to nail this down. If you had to improve anything, if you had to go back and change something in your performance or your choices, give me one thing, maybe two.
I was just okay because I'll be picking out lines.
Two at the most.
Okay. My interest, the way I entered, I would have wanted to turn more towards the camera, more towards the audience, because I know in theater we don't supposed to turn our back, and I kept turning towards the audience. I wanted them to see my happiness when I first came in. I don't think I showed that a lot. And at the end of the play, when it came to Free Man of Color, I would want to put more pain there. Like, well, not more pain, but more happiness there, because he was proud about his dad making this decision, and it made him feel greater as a person. So I would want to put more passion towards that. My director got on me a bunch of times about that.
Let's give some kudos to your director. Who is your director?
Oh, my director he's from Florida. He goes by the name Randall. I'm saying his name wrong. Rondo.
Uh-huh.
And he's a great director. He's here in Savannah right now.
Great.
He's really great director. He helped me out with a lot. And we had so many changes in the play, and he just switched it so fast. So
yeah.
He was a great
kept you on your toes.
Yes, it did. Because I was so lost when we had to do a lot of things.
Wow. Well, folks, now it's time with our stream production and our interview that you ask some questions. So we're going to take some questions from the chat here, and hopefully Kenny can answer them. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we'll start there. What was your favorite part of, I guess, maybe the monologue or the production? Or maybe just what was your favorite part? If somebody asked you, what was your favorite part? What would you say?
Breaking down the characters and actually understanding the work. And it really made me think about after I graduate, because I want to deal with film. So I was like, I got to put this much effort in theater. I just think about how much work is going to be in film. So just the whole little process of it kind of got me going, just thinking about my future.
So another question is, what made you do this particular play? Well, I guess it's not really a play, is it?
It was just three.
Were there from plays, right?
Yeah, it was three plays.
So why don't you name the three plays, because they might have not heard that.
Okay. The three plays there I did one was Dutchman, and then the other two are Free Man of Color and A Man Corner. All three of those plays, they have different structures, but they tie into one thing. And that made me want to dissect it more, because I had to figure out what ties in all of them. And all my professors challenged me to figure out what ties in to all these plays.
Oh. Let's talk about lines. A question here is, what was your process of learning lines?
Man.
And FYI here, my name is Rodney Creech. Laugh out loud.
That's my director, everyone. That's my director. That's Rodney right there.
You're a little nervous. It's
Rodney
okay.
Creech.
It's okay.
He's my director.
Your director's gonna forgive you.
Yeah, he gonna get on me later though. With lines, it was hard. It was tough. I'm part dyslexic, and being part dyslexic, it's hard to put the pieces together. And that, I feel like that was one of my biggest challenges. I actually started learning lines months in advance, just so I can be ready for the rehearsal. And I still had kind of trouble, because I had to switch. Switch one play out. I had to put Dutchman in there, because I didn't know if I was going to do Dutchman all the way, because how long the play was. But we got it together at the end of the day.
How has your life prepared you for this production, or I guess the monologues? How has your life prepared you?
Getting pretty deep, but it prepared me a lot, because
there was times I wanted to quit, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to finish. I thought about it a whole bunch of times. I even talked to my professor, even you. I talked about, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish. But I started thinking about times I see my mother get up at 5 in the morning. She'll just work, and she'll come home and cook after working 2 jobs. And then I started thinking about when I used to get up and I do multiple things. And I started thinking about, I was like, if I did it when I was younger, right now at this age, it's okay. It's just a line. It's just another stepping stool. Like, it's another obstacle. Like I said, it's life. So it's a lesson. I've seen the lesson before. It just have a different face on it. That's it.
Wow. We kind of talked about Dutchman, and how you related to Dutchman, but is that the character you relate most? The question is, what character do you most relate to out of in all the monologues there? So which character?
Shoot, that's hard. If I could do 2, I would say Dutchman and A-Man Corner. I have to go with A-Man Corner. A-Man Corner because
Who's the character in it?
A-Man Corner, that was David.
David.
Yes,
Okay.
David, he ended up confessing to his mother that he was gonna have to make this big decision. But I didn't confess to my mother. I confessed to myself, like, hey, it's time for you to be a man. You gotta step out your comfort zone. You gotta man up. You gotta do A, B, and C. But that was like to my whole self. So that was more inner.
Yeah.
To my mother, it was like, okay, Casey. But I have had like situations. I have a conversation with my mother, but my mother raised 3 boys, so we wasn't gonna disrespect our
3
mother
boys.
in no way.
Yeah, well,
So-
your mom and my mom can get along. I come from a family of 4 boys.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
You know exactly how that's gonna happen. One of us disrespect, the other one's gonna get the other person. But with Dutchman, it hit home because the young lady that was speaking to him was actually yelling at him on the train. Clyde ended up lashing out on her because the lady wasn't understanding who he was. She just kept bringing up stereotypes of how he looked or what he was.
Right.
And that happens to me a lot. A lot of people look at how I am, and they never understand who I really am. Like, who is this guy? How did he get here? They just say, oh no, he's this person from that person from this. But they don't really understand the true story, and they don't really read the book. They look at the front of the page and like, oh, that's what this story gonna be about. They don't even look at the back of the book, because the back of the book tell you, but
Maybe the leap inside.
yeah.
Okay, so tell me this. Another question is, who inspired you to be an actor? And who is your inspiration? So not what, but who?
I looked at a lot of movies growing up without thinking about it. I was going around the house being a character, but for some reason in school I did not want to be a character. I was just making people laugh without trying.
Yeah.
My inspiration, though, I would have to say Sidney Poitier, because of his story, his background. He came from a family that was really poor, but they wasn't like poor. They just didn't have much. So he went into New York, basically chased his dream. He couldn't speak English at all. He came from a family that he couldn't speak English, he couldn't read, but he became one of the best actors out there. And I thought about, like, if he could do it, man, I can do it. And then my mother always inspired me to do things. And my brothers, they just push me to do things too. So, and my stepfather, he just gonna push me either way too. So it was like a family of just saying, all right, go get it, go out for it.
Great. Wow. Well, let's see. We'll wait a second or two to see if anybody else has a question. I'm kind of really interested in, monologues. You chose monologues over maybe like a 1-act play or having a full-fledged production, right?
That's true.
How do you feel? Like, what led to that decision? Do you think that maybe you would have had more success in a 1-act play, or what were the things now that you know about doing monologues that maybe you were like, oh man, I don't know if I would want to do that in the future, and maybe 1-act play would have been easier?
I'm gonna answer that twice. I'm gonna answer it 2 different ways. With the way COVID is set up, we wasn't able to do a whole play. a whole
Right.
production. So I had to think about like, okay, if I could do a whole production, who could I rely on? But then I wanted to put pressure on myself. So I just made it up to myself. I told myself like, okay, if you can count on anybody, who can you count on? You can count on Kennedy, you can count on KC, just go for it. And I put all the pressure on me because I know if I don't get it done, then I fail myself. And one thing I know that one thing everybody should know, you should never fail yourself. If anybody, don't worry about nobody else in the world, but worry about yourself. Like, so I wanted to think about like, I told myself like, if you put yourself in a position to do it by yourself, just do it. But with doing this play, I would suggest doing a one act play now, because if I could just create my own one act play, I would definitely do it to just change people's view of certain things, because I didn't think I could play all these characters, especially Dutchman. He is such an angry guy. He is so angry. I don't get that mad, and it's hard for me to get mad. So doing that really.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you mad.
Yeah, see, I'm always.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'm always happy.
I probably would be very scared to see you mad.
It's one of those like the guy's always happy type of deal. Then he transforms.
Yeah, surprise.
Crazy guy.
Yeah. We got another question. So, do you plan to pursue a career on stage, screen, or both? You did mention something about film, but
I love theater. I love theater because I can see the people faces and I can see them like cry. I love seeing people cry because that means I hit some message there, and either they cry, laugh, I know I hit something. But I want to try. Well, I'm going to try film. That's going to be my goal, to go ahead and try film so I can put the big picture on for the future kids of tomorrow. Like, I'm tired of seeing the stereotype of African Americans, so I want to put that what we really are. It's not always that we're just junkies, robbers, stealers, basketball players, athletes. We got more than that. We can offer more. I just want to. So my goal is to become a director. Well, right.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of interesting to think about this idea in the times that we're in. You know, trying to add to the discussion, like add to the discourse. There's lots of social issues going on right now, especially for young African American men. You know, we just heard yesterday and the day before.
Oh yeah.
You know, so there needs to be more said. There needs to be a constant message coming out, right?
Yeah.
And so, do you feel like you can kind of contribute to that? Do you really think you can contribute to that?
Yes, but I have to do the same thing I did for this. I have to make sure I go all in with it, and just stick to it. Because one thing I do have a problem with is staying consistent when it comes to doing something like this. Because I can say that I want to do it, but staying consistent with it the whole way, that's my problem. But I do feel like I can shine a light on it and have people say, hey, don't let nobody mute you. Always just say it. Just use your voice. Just use your voice at all times. Like, don't let no one mute you. Nobody should ever be muted at all.
Nobody should ever be muted. I like that.
It's actually one of the poems I wrote.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know you were a poet.
It's a lot of things, man. You know.
So while you were saying, like, there's a lot of things that people don't know about me. And I did not know. Well, I guess I didn't know you can get angry. That was number one. And then I guess that you actually write poetry.
Yeah, it's like certain things I do. I'm trying to get into music, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in today and watching Kennedy Carroll's performance. The title of your performance again?
It's Inside of Us.
It's inside of us. So thanks again for joining us, and we appreciate your patronage. And come and make sure you check us out tomorrow at 6 p.m. We have a dance production.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, right?
It's Ricardo, right?
Yeah, Ricardo Richardson.
Yeah.
2020s. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
2020s.
2020s. Oh, that's fine.
I wish I had a couple of 20s.
Man, I'm broke right now.
Okay. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Y'all. Thank you.